I'm out here with this Ned Foss Survival Kukri. Alright, sorry for the background noise. Comes with a leather sheath. There's a belt loop. Okay, so that sheath on the belt, now I'm left-handed, but let's just pretend I was right-handed, like most of you, right? So there's the sheath on the belt. Alright, so there you go. You can modify that as you see fit, I'm sure you will. Now this kukri, because it flares out, and it's kind of thick stock here, right? This has some weight to it. A 6-inch blade, so you can do some light chopping. It's got the characteristic recurve, which they borrowed from the Nepalese kukri. Beefy G10 handle scales. Nice lanyard slot, extended basher pommel, extended tang, integrated guard. Nice belly on this, a strong tip. Yeah, recurves are very useful, very popular. One good thing about this, you can see true full tank construction, very thick. It has G10 handle scales, a large lanyard slot, and it also has an extended tang, which you can use as a hammer. Okay, another aspect is this curve right here, right? That's good for slicing, where you're both drawing it across something as well as into something, like a butcher knife. Now a recurve will channel whatever you're cutting, it channels it into that curve, right? So recurves are very useful, right, for different cutting chores, kind of like a sickle or a scythe. You know, they sell this as the survival kukri. Alright, we'll see. We're gonna get into some woodwork, but first, yeah, that went through it like nothing, right? Like I said, that recurve part, that's two seatbelt strap type materials essentially. That's what we like to see over here. Yeah, that's a high degree of initial sharpness. Good job on that edge. You see the bevel here, it starts off real thick. It's a partial hollow grind and then the relief grind, and that's the part they got that right to give you a nice edge out of the box. Out here, if you don't have something on your head, a bandana or whatever, those mosquitoes will stitch a line right over your eyes. All right, let me find a branch and do some notching and carving for you with the survival kukri. All right, I found a piece of wood. Let's do some notching. Good old bread and butter bushcraft task. I like getting out here despite the hot weather and so forth. I mean, it's just good to get some fresh air and see the beauty of nature. Alright, we got our little notch here. Alright, so there you go with your bushcraft notch. You know, if you had to carve like a tent stake or a piece of a trap or something, you can certainly use this. Alright. Alright, so if you had to carve like a little spike, or maybe you're just roasting your marshmallows at your campfire, you can carve a little skewer. Like I said, the extended tang is a basher and a hammer. Okay, so we got a piece of birch right here. I wish I had my splitting stump, but this will do. You can do like a bit of light splitting with this. And there you go. I wasn't sure if there would be any dry wood here, so I actually hiked in here with my own little piece of firewood and my smaller baton that I carved myself. Mini baton. Let's hear it for the mini baton. Alright, and if you so choose, you can split the wood further for whatever purposes you may have. Speaking of survival, I do save this. It's very useful for fire starting. You peel it off, it's as thin as paper and quite flammable. I hope you're all surviving as well as I. Alright, so we got some little pieces here. Like you could use, this is not just for firewood, you could carve this however you could carve this into whatever you need to carve it into. Spike or whatever. Okay, light chopping with this. I hope this branch isn't too wet. You'll see. Oh, it's still pretty solid. Alright, so you see that, right? I just chopped a V notch into that. So you can chop a notch into something, or just chop all the way through. So you can definitely do light chopping with this, and again, going for another notch, right? You can chop notches, chop little saplings if you have to. Now this also has a fairly pointed tip, right? So you can spear things, thrust into things. If that becomes an issue, right? You can stab into things. The spine is actually somewhat smooth, okay? So it's not optimized for use as a striker. So one recommendation that I would make to Ned Foss is to make the spine sharper so that it could be used as a striker, okay? So what to do if you can't use your knife to strike your steel? Well, you could carry a separate striker. You could do what I do. I carry a Swiss knife, okay? Now this is it's a Farmer X, right? It's the Farmer with scissors added, okay? And so I can use the back of the saw as my strike. It just don't seem right having a bushcraft or survival video with no mention of fire. So if I was carrying this, I would also carry this. I might rig up a way to carry this on the sheath of this, okay? But yeah, they should sharpen that spine, or you could do it yourself to use that as a striker. Let's have a little bit of a fire. Now I carry a little tin with whittling shavings that I usually use is for fire fodder. I use the hot spot method. Come on. I know it's damp out here. Come on. Oh, there we go. There we go. Alright. Fire was TV before there was TV, know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, fire doesn't have to be connected to your survival fixed blade, but you have to have some method, right? Some method of starting a fire to survive. But yeah, I definitely hope you're doing well these days. Now, of course, this is not a campfire or a cooking fire. It's just showing the starting of a fire. But I often make my own, I have a little mug that I can cook with, and I often make my own tea or my own coffee on the trail. So the steel on this knife is 8CR14 MOV. That is a less expensive stainless steel, and the price on this was $45. So is that a little bit high for that steel? I would say yes. However, I've seen crazy things with sales and so forth, so I don't know. I mean, if this goes on sale during the holidays, who knows what the price will be. So, basically, if you don't like the price, check back later. There might be a discount, there might be a sale, who knows. As for the stainless steel that this uses, it's kind of what you would expect from this price range. Other knives like this will be using like D2. Me personally, I would prefer if they would use a Sandvik steel. Honest opinion. So, final conclusions. It's kind of like a project knife. If you were to really use this as a bushcraft and survival knife, I expect most people would heavily modify the sheath to be carrying some sort of fire kit with the sheath, or you could, modify the spine on that too, right? And of course, you're going to want to sharpen this it came fairly sharp, but you're going to want to sharpen it up to your specifications. But it's a good basis for a survival knife, just because it's so beefy. Look at that. It has a nice weight to it, and I like that it has enough weight that you can do a little bit of chopping, right? So chopping, piercing, slicing, cutting with that recurve, hammering with the pommel. It's basically, I can see why they call it a survival knife, because it has many different functions, okay? It's kind of like a fixed blade version of a Swiss knife, right? One blade, many functions. So I'd say it's pretty good for the price. Me personally, I would wait till it maybe goes on sale. Okay, my friends, well, I hope you enjoyed learning about this knife. If you like gear reviews, knives, multi-tools, pellet rifles for hunting, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Underneath the video in the description, I will list this item as well as a link to the Ned Foss store on US Amazon. Alright, so check those out, and I'll list a bunch of other goodies as well. Upcoming items, multi-tools, and so forth. Alright, this has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.